Hello and a very warm welcome for yet another wonderful week. This is Just the Facts show, and today we're coming out of the norm, and of course the set itself and the subject that we're going to discuss tonight is a different thing altogether, and we want to talk about conservation and of course get to know a movie producer, director and an animal behaviorist. And of course, Ralph, just to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to our viewers who may not have heard about you.
Well, I've been around in Kenya for 30 years, and I'm Ralph Helford's the name.
Yes.
I'm a writer. I've written a number of books. Animal behaviorist, kind of unusual, different than the average one.
Yes.
And a producer. I produce motion pictures and television.
Yeah, and the bit of being an animal behaviorist is what may catch the attention of many viewers tonight, and they may want to get a further definition of what you mean by being an animal behaviorist.
You know, many years ago when I started in the business, I had a company.
That is when, roughly, in Tanzania?
Oh, back, way back in the 60s.
60s?
And I was quite young, but...
How old were you?
105. No, no, I'm up there.
Okay.
I started a company with animals to work in the motion picture and television industry because what I was seeing was brutality. I saw a lot of animals that were being subjected to ways to train them for the camera, not for the humanitarian feeling for the animal. Basically, they would do whip, gun, and chair or do anything to get that animal to perform on camera. And when I came along, I'm a lover, not a fighter. And it was horrible. And I developed a new way to work with animals. I called it affection training. It wasn't just affection, but it was a word that the studios picked up because we dealt with animals through a lot of love and understanding of the animal and good communication. It worked. And because of that, I developed a ranch. We ended up with 1,500 animals in
1,500
California.
animals in California, and what types of animals are you talking about?
Leopard, mountain lion, elephant, all kinds.
And Ralph, maybe to take you back a little bit, talk about developing a new way of dealing with the animals. Is it something you learned in school, or how did you come to develop this new skill?
Well, I have to preface by saying I don't recommend anybody having an exotic animal or training it or having it in their house. I have to say that. Now, that having been said, I found a way at a very young age that emotions are the key to working closely with an animal. You can never physically harm it. If you harm it, an animal immediately goes into a protective mode and will resist you. And you have a confrontation there. The key words that we use are love, patience, understanding, and respect. You can't just love an animal. You can't just love a child. They will become spoiled. So you need a certain control of respect and the understanding of the nature of the animal. It took years to develop the program. And but when we did, we ended up with lions and tigers and leopards that I could put on a leash and walk into the movie.
When you talk about you ended up, were you alone or you were with quite a number of people?
I started alone.
Yeah.
But as the program developed, more people came on board. We ended up with 50 trainers in our company because we became the world's largest. For the first time, imagine Marilyn Monroe or Elvis Presley or any of these big movie stars could finally work with a wild animal safely.
Yeah, and that is quite an interesting bit of it. The movie stars working with the animals safely without being hurt, and perhaps did you experience problems?
Yeah. We got them when very young. The rule was to use no brutality and to turn hate to love. Emotions are very important, even with humans as well as with animals. And that's what we dealt with. So the animals were brought up personally with us. My lion, Zamba, who became one of my favorites, and I wrote a book about, lived in my house. He had a special bed we built because he would sleep in the house. He was 528 pounds.
No change of attitude at all while it was living in your house?
Just like a person. And again, I don't think people should do this. Looking back, I should not.